There's a lot of buzz surrounding Resident Evil 9 right now, thanks to a massive leak that could change the course of the series. This information comes from Andy over at Biohazard Declassified, who claims to have gotten details from a source who play-tested an early build of the game. While we should take all of this with a grain of salt until Capcom confirms it, this could be one of the biggest leaks yet. So, let's break down what we know. The story and setting. According to the leak, Resident Evil 9 takes place for years after the events of Resident Evil Village, but not the Shadows of Rose DLC, just the main game. The plot focuses on fan favorites Leon S. Kennedy and Jill Valentine, who team up for the first time in a mainline regame. This would be a huge deal for fans who have wanted to see them work together more directly. They were last seen side by side in the Death Island CG movie, so it's great to see this dynamic make its way into the games. Chris Redfield and Barry Burton are also returning, though they'll serve more as supporting characters, providing guidance and assistance via radio calls. Fans of Barry should be excited just imagining him picking up Leon and Jill in a helicopter, and enough to make anyone nostalgic. Character designs. The leak also mentions their new looks. Jill will sport a more tactical outfit, similar to her appearance in Resident Evil 5, Lost in Nightmares, while Leon will have a more rugged, older look, complete with unshaven facial hair and slightly longer hair, resembling his appearance from the Resident Evil Damnation movie. This aging and change in appearance makes sense, given the years that have passed since their last appearances in the series. Plot details. The plot kicks off with Jill and Leon heading to an island to investigate a company involved in the creation of Evelyn, the antagonist from Resident Evil 7. The company is allegedly now mass-producing clones of Evelyn using the mutamycete, the parasitic fungus introduced in Resident Evil Village. This makes sense, considering the events in Village, where the BSAA, the organization Jill works for, was already involved with using the mutamycete to create semi-intelligent bioweapons. Chris and Barry will call Jill and Leon for support during their investigation. One interesting detail is that Chris mentions Rosemary Winters, Ethan's daughter from Village, suggesting that her blood might be used to create a vaccine for the mutamycete. This ties back to Chris's protective stance on Rose, which will probably play a major role in the plot. As they investigate, Jill and Leon will get infected with the mutamycete, causing them to experience hallucinations and hear Evelyn's voice, which could add an eerie psychological layer to the gameplay. Setting. The island will feature a variety of environments, including abandoned hospitals, caves, houses, forests, factories, laboratories, and even a mysterious temple. This diversity in location suggests that the game will focus heavily on exploration, which is a great sign for fans who enjoy the more atmospheric and puzzle-solving aspects of the series. Enemies. In terms of enemies, Resident Evil 9 will introduce an evolved version of zombies, who are far more dangerous than their typical counterparts. These zombies are able to wield melee weapons like knives and axes much like the Ganados from Resident Evil 4 and can run, making them much more agile and terrifying. They are also infected with the mutamycete, and some of them worship the moon, with tattoos on their arms and a strange, cult-like obsession with it. This moon-worshipping behavior adds a unique, almost supernatural element to the infection. At night, they can be heard singing to the moon while staring out at the sea. There's also mention of a stalker enemy that will specifically chase Leon throughout the game, while Jill will be hunted by what's being called the Goat Man. These enemies seem to be designed to create tension by relentlessly pursuing the characters, similar to how the Regenerators and the Chainsaw Man made earlier regames so nerve-wracking. The main villain, the main antagonist, is a new character named Mr. Simon, who oversees the mass production of biological weapons. He has a dark, traumatic past, which seems to be tied into the creation of these bioweapons. This gives him a personal stake in the events of the game and suggests there could be deeper psychological horror elements at play, which would be a welcome return to the roots of Resident Evil. The source also confirms that Resident Evil 9 will continue to build on the events of Resident Evil 7 and Village, especially focusing on the unresolved mystery surrounding the Megmycete and Evelyn's origin. The Winters family saga apparently coming to an end, but the narrative will continue to explore the aftermath of the events, especially concerning Rose's role and potential future significance. The idea of continuing the story involving the Mutamycete and the Winters family feels like a natural progression for the series, even if there's some concern that Resident Evil is revisiting familiar ground with its focus on clones and bioweapons. While this concept isn't entirely new to the series, it makes sense given the lore Capcom has built around these bioweapons and the various factions trying to control or exploit them. What I'd love to see, if Resident Evil 9 continues in this direction, I'd love to see a greater focus on psychological horror. The hallucinations and eerie voice echoes of Evelyn could add a lot of tension to the gameplay. More dynamic environments would also be great. Destructible objects or environmental hazards could add to the atmosphere, and mixing in more exploration-based gameplay would give players the chance to really get immersed in the island setting. Ultimately, the mix of action, survival horror, and deep narrative threads has been one of Resident Evil's trademarks, and if this leak is true, it sounds like Resident Evil 9 will strike that balance beautifully. Overall, I'm excited by the potential of Resident Evil 9, the return of Leon and Jill, the mysterious island setting, the new enemies, and the continuation of the Winters family saga all seem like a solid foundation for another great chapter in the Resident Evil universe. I'm especially looking forward to the Leon-Jill dynamic, which could really add something new to the series. However, I'm also hoping Capcom doesn't over-rely on the whole cloning and bioweapon angle, as it's something the series has explored before. What do you think? Are you excited about Resident Evil 9? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below.
If you like this video, please do subscribe to never miss a video. Till next time, bye bye.